What up, everybody? TTE Talks here. Vita Van Pelt, soy sauce in the building. We are back for my favorite time of the year, every single time. Our preseason talks, because these talks are always the best. We may be inconsistent, we may move. We'll never miss this. we have yet, we have yet to miss all the preseason NFL talks after the draft that we can. I know we do John O'Neill challenge, that we get into this. So it is time for us to get knee deep into our divisional breakdowns. Then we'll get into the conference breakdowns, player rankings, and everything before the NFL season. Mandatory mini camp has started for most. We got some news such as TJ Watt, and as of today, got traded and show up. Shamar Stewart still didn't sign. So hopefully by the time this drops, we'll see where that's at. But it's time. Once mandatory mini camp pop off, we good to go. So we will be starting today. We know I try to give y'all a chance. Nobody said nothing. That's on y'all. So we'll be going in our normal order: north, east, south, west. We usually go AFC first. We're gonna start with the NFC. The reason why we put the AFC second this time was I was waiting on the Aaron Rodgers news, and it happened. So I was like, you know what? We'll still go with the NFC first this year because we've always started off with the AFC first. So we're gonna start up in the north, in the NFC North, with the Bears, Packers, Lions, and Vikings. But before we get to that, Soy, how you doing today, Uz?
Man, we good, Oos. We good, man. Hey, whoever said owning a big backyard was a good idea was a liar. I hate it. I hate every bit of it.
Yeah,
Only because my sprinkler system is broke right now. I gotta go dig holes in trenches to figure out where the leak is. I'm not looking forward to
yeah.
that. Other than that, man, we solid. I'm ready for this. I'm ready for the off season. I'm ready to get into the season. We done already started the smack talk in the TTE
Yeah.
chat.
Oh yeah,
I'm
good
ready.
times. So before we get into that, do you have any takes on Shamar Stewart, Trey Hendrickson, TJ Watt, or Jalen Ramsey? Or Terry McLaurin? Some of these guys who have looking for money or possible, well, four of them are looking for money. And on Ramsey's end, they're just seeming to look for a new place. So you got any thoughts on any of those guys before we get into it?
I mean, selfishly, Trey Hendrickson. Uh, what was he? He's been leading the league in sacks the last couple of years, right?
Yep.
Selfishly, man, that's probably the one area of concern for the Eagles. I don't think we're going to be able to make a trade for that and then be able to bring him over. But man,
And now
is
Jair Alexander. Forgot about
yeah,
Alexander.
Jair Alexander added to that list. If I'm looking at it, man, Jalen Ramsey, I like it somewhere like San Francisco, who just lost a starting corner in Ward.
Yeah.
Somebody to make a move there. Maybe even for Jair Alexander. That is probably a little more attractive
I think
than
Buffalo
anything.
is in a corner market. Yeah.
Buffalo. Uh, Obviously Philly's always gonna be there in that discussion, especially after losing Darius Slay to the Steelers.
Yeah.
Um, but hot take, I don't think we're gonna see any big shakeups at least the first 2-3 weeks of the season. Going into the season, like
Yeah.
I think everybody's just gonna. I mean, Jair probably gonna sign. Obviously, Jalen Ramsey I think stays. He's gonna end up being there at least for a couple weeks into the season. There's just
I
so
got
many young
Jalen
guys out there,
leaving.
but
I think I got Jalen leaving by before week one of preseason.
think so.
I think
Where
there's
do you
some.
think Jalen ends
Yeah,
up?
I don't know. That's the problem. Is I don't know who. I think the way his contract was set up is like unless you give Miami a certain pick and they're willing to change it. I think if you take him, you have to take on his entire contract fully guaranteed. That's the last thing I heard. So
Damn.
unless they're willing to change it on their end, be like, hey, you might have to give us a really high pick and we'll take on some of the money. I think you have to fully guarantee like what was his deal. So I think that's probably the hang up for some people. So I really don't know where Ramsey could go because I'm like, I know Buffalo probably is in the corner market, but I also don't see Miami moving him to Buffalo.
I like New
Um,
England. I like New England too, especially with Vrabel over there.
yeah,
New England's always an attractive place for corners.
yeah, I could see New England would be a spot. Um, Outside of that, my hottest one was I see it back to Jacksonville.
Back to
Um,
Jacksonville. Okay.
yeah, I said Jacksonville. The Ramsey Travis Hunter, combination in that going on over there would have been exciting for a lot of people.
I
I
was
felt
talking
like so
talking to Pollard earlier
that
too,
was
and Baltimore came up. Baltimore as a team that
Baltimore took it.
probably needs some help in the secondary, man. Know they made some big moves in the draft and went and drafted a pretty
Starks.
solid safety. Probably the
Yeah,
best of the first round, the best draft fit of the first round
yeah.
on the defensive
So
side of the
yeah,
ball.
there is still some people left out there. Like I think Jesse Bates and a couple people still available on free agency that like haven't moved yet. And at this point, I don't. I just think some of them are trying to avoid mandatory mini camps. Like some
Yeah,
of them be doing that if they can. They just don't want to go, which is like cool. I understand. So we'll see. Yeah, that's why I think they're gonna wait for some of these guys to kind of work their way on the rosters and see kind of where the leverage lands. I wish they said Jacksonville was kind of just like the one I was like, I think Ramsey go back to Jacksonville. That'll be fun.
yeah, and
And
they're back
so
over there. They got a solid defense too.
Trey Henderson, I think that brother's sitting. I don't think Cincinnati is gonna get anything done with him. I think he's going to sit into the season before something gets done
And
because I
where could
think they
he
got to.
end up?
Yeah, I do think I think he's gonna sit until they give him his money, and they are going to give him his money. Like that's how I feel, but I think he's actually gonna sit into the season. I
Especially
think
with
he's
who
gonna
they
have to go.
drafted, not signing.
Yeah, yeah, I think they're gonna have to go to Chris Jones route with him, and he's gonna be like, "I'm in the stands chilling until you give me my money. Like I'm here, so I'll take the fines, I'll take whatever." And I believe Trey will stand on it and not play like Chris did until he gets the money he wants. So
He deserves it,
I'm
man.
like,
He showed up for
yeah,
it the last couple of years. I mean,
yeah.
we
So
already know the Bengals are known for not giving the bag to people who they should be giving the bag to.
yeah, just think, man, I just think they held on. Like they held on. They could have got T a couple years ago for a couple million less. Jamar they couldn't do nothing about because Jamar bet on himself. He was like, nah, I'm just gonna run the next year, let the money move up some more, and did it. But just the fact that they held on just a little too long,
Yeah,
like it inflated, like which was the worst thing for them because all their players was like, nah, now it moved up and we still want our money. Like their play didn't justify not paying them that.
yeah.
So like that was just like a bad strike of luck for them. Like, dang, they still killing it, and the market went up. Now we got to give them 4, 5 more M's. Like,
Like two
that's
teams you
tough.
got to look at that did it the right way and the wrong way. Philly paid Devontae Smith early before that
Early,
wide receiver market went
early.
crazy. Paid him
If yeah,
early. And then you got the Bengals on the other side of it where it's like y'all was hurting without T Higgins. And then when you got T
yeah,
Higgins back, it was like,
boom.
yo, Jamar went
They,
crazy, T Higgins still
they,
going crazy. Now you got to come out your pockets.
I'm Ron Panay got money earlier
Mhm.
than they probably should have. But again, they understood we take our bag. We also got to leave some on the table. So take the early check, which is like I feel like once you know who you got, do not play with who you know you're going to pay. Do not get them in and out as fast as you can, and give them the extra years so you can maybe move guarantees and stuff. But the moment you know, like I want to keep this dude around, just pay him, and don't play that market game.
Mhm.
So that, yeah. Beyond that, I do want to understand what the default is in Shamar Stewart's contract. I still don't understand what the language of that means, but just interested with like all I know is it said if this happens, you lose guarantees, and I can understand when you're like guarantee money, like nah, we're not doing that. So
Yeah. I don't
not
know.
with it.
I don't know. These rookies is coming in. I don't know if you want to call it either more savvy or just a little bit more greedy than they probably should be. But
A
it is
bunch
what
of
it
second
is.
round picks didn't sign for the longest. A bunch of second round. It wasn't just first. Like at one point, I think it might have changed, but like last week, there was only like 4 second rounders who signed. Like they weren't playing it. Like you could tell the NFL is trying to draw a line, and these players with NIL money is like, nah, we not doing that either.
Yeah.
So there was a decent amount of players who like the Panthers edge and Nick Gordon. He didn't sign. He took him a while to sign. We thought it was unnatural, but it was like, nope. There's only 4 second rounders who signed. So
They
there
said
was a
we
bunch of
they said
people.
we came over with money from the
Yeah,
NIL, so we're not hurting for this. Like,
yeah, yeah. A lot of them. That was the crazy part. The NIL has changed a lot of negotiations. Like you can't change how much you make on the rookie scale, but I guess you could leverage how much you get up front to
yeah.
however it works. So
I seen
that's the
I don't know if I read it right, but it looks like the Supreme Court ruled in favor of the NCAA being able to pay their players directly. I don't know if I read
I
that
wouldn't
right.
do it.
Either in favor
Look,
or again. It came up on my ESPN notification. I didn't read it in full, but it just said that some sort of ruling for schools to be able to pay players directly. So instead of NIL, I don't know if, like I said, y'all might gonna have to correct me in the comments because I didn't do my research properly. I just seen the
yeah,
ESPN notification come up.
it's an entire Wild West thing. I seen one smaller coach brought up or whatever they had in structure for them to be there. So
Yeah, I don't
yeah,
know. I don't know. It's just,
and then the whole JUCO thing on top. I don't want to get too far off of the NFC North, but there's a lot of movement that does affect the NFL from that level. So I'm excited. I'm always excited for this. This is always funny to me, but that was just some news before we get into the NFC North. So
oh snap.
let's get it onto the NFC North. We will be breaking down the teams in reverse order, starting from worst to first. Chicago Bears finished last year 5-12. The Packers 11-6. The Vikings 14-3, and the Lions at 15-2. Remember, the Lions and Vikings had that last winning in game for the number one seed in a bye. Which, in hindsight, I mean, we all know games mean a lot, even though both of them still lost their first playoff game each
Man,
going into it. You know what I'm saying?
that had to be
Yeah,
the biggest waste of time as
that
far as
was
like jockeying for position for the
yeah,
playoffs. Like all overall, biggest waste of time.
and it was like it would have been crazier if both of them got knocked out by the same team, but they didn't.
Yeah.
Like that would have been wild. So Chicago Bears is who we will be starting off with. Last year, finishing with the record of 5-12. Before we get into anything of the Bears going into this 2025 season, How where was your stance on the Chicago Bears last year? Anything you was right, wrong about? How did your view of last year's Bears team turn out?
Played out exactly how I thought it would. I think we talked about Caleb Williams coming into the year being a little bit overwhelmed, right? We talked about USC quarterbacks coming out of college into the NFL with all the hype and not necessarily playing out. He kind of falls into that. I think this year will be a lot different, but last year I think we almost predicted exactly what the record would be. Um, y'all might gonna have to go back and check the tape, but everything played
Yeah.
out the way we thought it would. Keenan Allen was who we thought he was coming into the team, being the veteran presence. Obviously, he was a 1-year rental. It went into the draft and grabbed another young receiver to pair up with Roma Dunze and DJ Moore. But I think one of the things I was disappointed with the Bears was their run game.
Yeah.
They put a whole lot of stock in bringing over DeAndre Swift. They put a whole lot of stock in, put a little bit of stock in that O line. And it was just felt non-existent. Like it felt like an afterthought to everything that Caleb was doing. I don't know if you could blame that on play calling or what it is, but they are who we thought we were, man. Like
Yeah.
it is what it
It
is.
was
I
a
don't think we were wrong at all with the Chicago Bears.
it was a very simple streak for me as I again it was very tough to say anything about Chicago being a Panthers fan because everybody thought I was trying to say it with a bitter word in me, but it was just like if Eberflus was on the hot seat last year, getting Caleb wasn't going to do nothing but make that seat more hotter
Hmm.
because the issue wasn't what Eberflus could do with a defense. It was we saw him struggle with the Justin Fields development, and then people tried to, well, Caleb's a better quarterback. Even if he's a better quarterback, I still never trusted Eberflus and that offense. Shane Waldron told people, hey, man, there was something about Shane Waldron I ain't like. Something about when Mike McDonald came over to Seattle and the first thing he said was, "Yeah, we know you gave Geno 2 career years. We don't need you though." That was a big red flag. Like that was a big red flag to me. That was a huge red flag to me when JSN was in his interview and they was like, "Do you got anything to say about Waldron?" And JSN was like, "Nah." And I'm like, "This is a head coach who's a monster on defense." It was like, "Nah, we good." And JSN, who ain't been doing nothing but running pro style offenses, is like, "I ain't got nothing to say." It's just like it was just a repeat to me of like you have a young quarterback and I don't trust the staff, so it's only gonna be frustrating. So they got Eberflus out of there, and then it just kind of became like you said, defensively. I feel like, man, it's still so crazy how like that season just really goes back to that Tariq Stevenson pose with the Hail Mary thing
Oh my
and Jaden
goodness.
Daniels. Like everything seemed to really have broken down from that moment. Like I think that was like the craziest luck because they started off, I think like 4-2 or something,
Yeah.
and then everything just went downhill.
At that moment, it was
Um,
like the defining moment of what Chicago was gonna be the rest of the season.
yeah,
Hey, y'all,
and that was
hey y'all, you see this? You know what I'm saying? That's
yeah,
like in the NBA when you start the first half like eight eight of 10. And you come out in the
yeah,
second
yeah,
half, you
yeah,
finish 1 for 11.
yeah. So it was just top to bottom for me. It was I didn't. There was just a point where I knew what Eberflus was as a head coach, and trying to get him to support a young quarterback, I just couldn't trust that. So that part, I was just like, again, it turned out how we felt. I didn't like. I think I had them closer to 7 wins, not 5. But again, I don't think any of us had them finishing. I think we all still had them finishing last in the division.
Yeah.
So, but you're right. Running back wise, um, I was cool with DeAndre Swift, but Roshan Johnson guy. I felt like Roshan Johnson was the guy. I feel like Roshan Johnson's been the best running back on the roster, and I wanted them to feature him that way and let Swift be the gadget guy beyond that.
Yeah.
So,
I think
uh,
they looked at what Philly did with DeAndre Swift and they felt like, okay, we could replicate that. We don't have the O line to do that. But yeah, we could get that same production out of Swift. He got the production in Detroit. He did that in Philly. Come on, man, y'all are not Detroit or Philly O line wise.
yeah,
Like Roshan Johnson, like you said, a whole lot more durable. I feel like he's a little bit more, gives you a little bit more downhill.
yeah. Like I just literally feel like it needs to be changed. Roshan needs to be the one. Swift needs to be the two. But that was last year. We'll get into this year and what's coming up. Can you pull up Caleb and his stats real quick? Overall, you know me, when they come to rookie quarterbacks in their first year, I just ask if the things that you did in college, the things that was your selling point, translate. And I felt like all of that did with Caleb. We saw the creativity, we saw the arm strength, we saw the ability to be mobile and to get out. Then again, we saw the other stuff, the stuff that I feel like is less his fault because I can't remember the dang coach's name that he was with in college, but he was the same dude he was with at Oklahoma that then went to USC. It's not Lane Kiffin, Lincoln Riley, I think. Yeah, Lincoln Riley. And I just feel like they don't prepare quarterbacks to see everything. And that's why I didn't trust Eberflus to do it either. So I just feel like it was coaching and O-line that kind of held him back in a lot of ways. But the things that I saw, like, oh no, this dude, he's got the cannon, he's got the mobility, he can get in and out. So that part I was like, okay, that's there, that's NFL level towards the top. We can mess with that. But everything else is like, let's see how you take the coaching going into next year with Ben and whatever we think Ben will be as a coach. We'll get to that part too.
Yeah, I
But
don't know.
overall,
I look at Caleb, man. I blame coaching. I
yeah,
put it all on
I'm
coaching. You
way
knew
more
you knew what
blaming
you was
coaching than
getting.
being him.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like we saw Caleb. We basically saw Justin Fields. That's literally what we saw. And I feel like, I don't know, man. I'm always gonna go back to this. I feel like they got off of Justin Fields way too early. Way too
yeah,
early.
yeah. I think too. What was it? God, I just lost it. Yeah, I'm putting it on coaching, on O line, and then also, man, I was a big Thomas Brown proponent, big Thomas Brown believer, and the fact that Thomas Brown had to repeat in Chicago what he did in Carolina. You start the offseason as the play caller, then you're not the play caller. Then like you have to take over as interim head coach and be like, and he's still like, I don't feel like Thomas Brown never got the fair chance to really work into being a play caller and grow into being a play caller. I feel like he has the ability to grow with that, but again, that's just me being a Thomas Brown believer. I've seen him do some good things that I like, and if with the right time, I think it could have worked out. But again, that seat just got so hot because of the last 2 years, because of CJ and because of Jaden's success. You looking over, you're like, nah, man, we got dudes who want to be there. We want to win and compete too. So I don't, yeah, none of what happened last year to me, I put on Caleb. I think we seen what was deserving to be the top quarterback last year, and I'm cool with that. I'm cool with his last year's season.
Yeah,
Like we've seen enough.
yeah,
Um, but yeah, that was it. I felt like still, a lot of people there's a lot of media members who's got to be top to bottom with it, who will not bang and beat down on Chicago because they have too much stock invested in Caleb and Ben Johnson now. There's too much stock in the generational talent that is Caleb and the generational play caller that is Ben Johnson. That no, especially like for last year, nobody would be like we were wrong. They would just be like, oh, we did this and we did that. But this was the same team. People was like dark horse NFC Championship game, and we
Yep.
were like,
Especially after that start.
nah, bro.
Especially after that start, man. After that start, we
Yeah,
got straight to the chat. We were like, all right, let's talk about who's the pretenders and who's for real.
yeah.
Unanimous vote. It was like, look, man, Chicago's pretenders. They look good, they look great, but now that you have
Even early, they
you have
lost.
6 weeks of
Remember
film on Caleb
the
Williams.
Will Levis pick game. They was about to lose that one early in the year. The Will
Yeah.
Levis pick game. We was like, he threw like that game was a tight one. There was some close ones there early too, which you was okay with. But yeah, there's too many mainstream media people who, again, they do it. I feel like a lot of them stopped this year because they were like, hey, we're not gonna try to do it 3 times. But yeah, that's our recap of the 2024 Chicago Bears. So let's start at the top. If you can get a picture of Ben Johnson on the screen for us, who's of Ben Johnson, the new head coach for the Chicago Bears, first year head coach, rookie head coach, leaving in division from Detroit to Chicago. A lot of Detroit people was heated because according to sources, they had he was already having meetings with them the week going into the playoff game. And then if
Damn.
you listen to Ryan Poles' interviews, Ben Johnson was in there basically like, please, can I have this job? Can I have this job? I want this job. So it's, you know what I'm saying? There's some bad blood from the Detroit fans, I felt like that I saw about the way that it seemed that he had made the move. So phenomenal play caller. I think for me, looking at Ben Johnson, we're gonna see the truth in two things. Um, was it just everything working right in Detroit? From O line to having Jared Goff, who we know is a good, better top tier quarterback in the NFL in the run game, or was you really the the sous chef in the kitchen putting all that together? You know what I'm saying? Or were you a product of having some of these guys around that you were able to remember? Ben Johnson has been on that staff ever since Dan Campbell was there.
Yeah, he came with
We did
Dan.
not we did not hear about Ben until year 2. That whole early Detroit sucks was all on Dan Campbell. You know what I'm saying? So Ben didn't get fly until they got fly that year 2. And they finished strong and then they catapulted from there. So where you at with Ben Johnson?
All right, hot take, man. I look at Ben Johnson, and he's gonna show us everything that Eric Bieniemy was to the Kansas City Chiefs, and that's it. Because once Eric Bieniemy left, when he left Kansas City to be an OC somewhere else, granted he wasn't a coach somewhere else. He went to what, Washington?
Yeah.
He went to Washington that first year, and it was like everybody was like, "Hey, this ain't what we saw in Kansas City, big dog. Like, hold on, wait a minute.
Yeah.
What
And
is
Eric
this?"
Bieniemy's on this staff. Don't forget, Eric Bieniemy is the running back coach for Chicago.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I look at this with a guy like Eric Bieniemy in Kansas City for those Super Bowl runs. We looked at him like, "Yo, this man
Yeah.
is cooking."
Yeah, we was up here
But
pounding the table.
but
Eric
are
B
you
need a
cooking
job.
because Pat Mahomes, Tyreek Hill at the time, Travis Kelce, that old line, that defense, is that why you're cooking? And then he went to Washington, and it was like, oh yeah, that's exactly why he was cooking. I'm looking at Ben Johnson the same way. Like, come on, dog, you got a hell of a wide receiver core over there. You have you have Jahmyr Gibbs, who should be running back one in my opinion. David
Yeah.
Montgomery, Penei Sewell over there, Frank Ragnow at the time, who's now retired for Detroit. You had your cake and you ate it too.
Yep.
So now you took your frosting. You went to Chicago. Let's see what kind of cake you're gonna make. I don't think he's gonna pan out to be this genius that we thought. He is a genius in the OC world, but as a head coach with this team, he's going from having the cream of the crop as far as an offensive game plan with weapons to now going to a second year quarterback, a second year wide receiver who's probably wide receiver one behind DJ Moore or in front of DJ Moore now. You get
Or Luther. They got Luther.
or
Coast
Luther.
and Love it.
Colston Loveland, like you got a bunch of young wide receivers.
We'll get to
So
the roster construction in a second.
I'm kind of looking at him
Um,
very Eric Bieniemy-ish.
okay. All right, so let me ask you this: Ben Johnson in year one. For me, I know sometimes we plant our flags. I never put a year one coach in the playoffs. If you get there, you get there. If you don't, you don't. That's what it is. I'm gonna give you a couple first year head coach kind of guys who were before him. We knew offensive minds, but clearly Ben has the higher pedigree and hype taking the position.
Mm-hmm.
Year one, Ben Johnson. Year one, Mike McDaniel. Which one you taking?
Oh, I'm taking Mike McDaniel.
McDaniel. Okay, year one, Ben Johnson. Year one, Shane Steichen as head coaches.
I'm still taking Shane Steichen.
Year one, Ben Johnson, or year one, Brian Daboll. Daboll was
I
coach
like
of the year
Daboll.
rookie year,
I
right?
like Daboll. I'm taking Daboll.
We could go ahead and toss this one up. Year one, Ben Johnson versus another guy who was a year one head coach, Liam Cohen.
I ain't taking neither one of them, bro.
you're not no Liam Cohen, no Duval love over here.
I ain't taking either one of them.
Okay, no Duval love, no Duval love. Okay, year one, Ben Johnson, or there's somebody I'm missing. There is somebody I'm missing around. I'm not gonna do that. You know what? That's cool. So far, you took Mike McDaniel, Shane Steichen, neither one on Liam Cohen, and Brian Daboll. So I think Shane was a game out of the playoffs. Brian Daboll, I believe, made the playoffs rookie year. Mike McDaniels made the playoffs rookie year.
Mm-hmm.
What for you would, in Ben Johnson's case, as a head coach, what are you looking for in year one?
Go 500.
500?
Go 500. Go 5. That's it. You won what? 5 games this year? 5 games last year?
Yeah,
they won 5 games last year, which could have easily just been 4 if it weren't for that Tennessee Titan Will Levis interception. Right? They won 5 games last year. Go and develop something, man. Go and I think what they need, what they've been missing since their last Super Bowl run years and years ago against Peyton Manning, is some sort of identity, man. No one looks at the Bears and say that's who they are. Yeah. That's what they can do, right? For a minute, it was like, okay, maybe they're known for their defensive line. They got Sweat over there before they traded him. They were looking good on the defensive side of the ball, and their biggest opportunity was on the offensive end. They couldn't put up no points. They couldn't move the ball. They was for damn sure gonna hit you in the mouth. But I think what they need to do is come out and establish some sort of identity, and I hope it has something to do with running the ball. If you can make Caleb's life easy, and I ain't mean easy like Jared Goff easy. If you can hand the rock off and get me 3 to 5 yards of carry with Roschon Johnson, and then come up out the backfield with DeAndre Swift, which I hope he's going to use him like that because he had the same 2 types of running backs in Detroit. He's familiar with DeAndre Swift.
So, last year, the Chicago Bears ranked dead last in yards per game.
Mm-hmm.
If you could pull that up, I got it up on my screen. I just had to double check. 284 yards a game. With New England, the Giants, the Panthers, and the Browns right above them. Passing yards per game, let me see. Still 181, second to the bottom. And rushing yards per game, they were 102, still towards the bottom edge of the league, right?
So, total yards, passing yards, total yards.
Yeah, I just got it up on the. Yeah. I just went there with the team stats. You see yards towards the bottom, 284.6. You see passing, 181. They're only over New England. And rushing, they were a little up, still towards the bottom half of the league. Let's try to give Ben a benchmark. Let's try to give Ben a benchmark. So can you go to the passing yard leaders? Team.
Let's see.
Yeah, you just go to the passing stats right there, and then yardage, and just click that. So Detroit last year was second, 263.2, right?
Mm-hmm.
Cincinnati was 1, and down Can you go down to the bottom with Chicago? Chicago was 181. That's an 80-yard difference between Ben being in Detroit and Chicago being at the bottom. Where can we draw our line for Ben?
It should be around the middle of the pack, man. If I'm looking at it, right? Because if I'm looking at all the teams that are above them right now,
So like
right?
New Orleans 205, whatever's going on over there, I don't know what that's gonna look like.
I'm gonna go from Cleveland down. They should be able to jump all these teams, right? They should be able to be right here, and this is probably around middle of the pack, just below the midpoint of the NFL.
So
They
can
should
you
be
go
about right.
from so if you look at Houston 207.4, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then Denver 212.4, there's like a 5-yard gap right there. I would like to see them somewhere around there.
Yeah, give me something above 200. Because we're
Yeah.
looking at Jacksonville, right? Jacksonville was there because they lost T-Law.
Yeah.
New Orleans was there because they lost Derek Carr. Indianapolis was there because Anthony Richardson can't throw the ball for hell.
Yeah.
Tennessee, obviously, we know the story with all these teams, but they should be able to be right there.
Yeah, I especially with some of the weapons they've added, Burden and Loveland coming over, I feel like it's very doable to ask to get towards the middle of the pack in passing yards a game.
Mm-hmm.
What about the rushing yards? I know we talked about them running the ball better, building an identity. The one thing about Detroit is we know that them brothers ran that ball.
146 a game, 4.7 a carry.
4.7. Can we go down to the Bears, please?
Not too far. 102. I mean,
with a 4 average.
431 carries.
What's the difference in attempts between Detroit and
434? 431. A whole 100 carry difference.
God, and still putting up 4.7 on
100
average
carry difference. That's nasty.
100 carries is still doing 4.7.
100 carries. 29 touchdowns for them on rushing last. I mean, they did put a whole lot of points up on a whole lot of people.
Yeah.
But damn. And I think they were around top of the league. I mean, you got 5.3, 5.8 for Baltimore, 4.9. But like that, yeah, they was balling. Obviously, these two teams are the anomaly, right? These two teams are the anomaly.
Yeah.
You're not really gonna look at.
I'm also trying to look at game flow too. You know what I'm saying? How certain games worked and went out. So like I'm still being understanding of that, but I'm not gonna lie. A whole 100 carry difference and still almost touching a 5 average
that's nasty work.
Is crazy, bro. So like you said, you know what? I'm not gonna put nothing on the rushing, but I'm glad that we see that difference. Because I think it would allow us, like you said, to see what the identity is going into next year.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's the identity they're going to have going into next year, and then obviously that will change as the season goes on. I do not believe the Chicago Bears are built to run like the Detroit Lions were last year.
No,
like they're not.
I think that So, I mean, if we look at it, Detroit was able to run the ball because of guys like Amon Ra, because of you know all those guys that were on the outside. So I agree, man. They're probably not going to put up anywhere near those numbers.
I'm not going to ask them to run the ball 500 times for 4.5. 13 rushing touchdowns. I do feel like that could jump up to 20 because I do feel like Ben calls really good run plays at the right moment that tend to take advantage of it. So I do want to see a tick in rushing touchdowns, but the production of it, I'm not going to put that on them. I do expect the production of the passing game to become better because they do got some weapons over there that I like in the setup. Yeah. So, can we pull up another coordinator, please? Dennis Allen for the Chicago Bears, former head coach for the New Orleans Saints, Dennis Allen. One thing I know about Dennis gonna call a defense. I know Dennis gonna call a defense, and this is so funny to me that a bunch of Frank Reich and his boys, Frank Eberflus, all these dudes done choked up, Dougie P, these suckers, you know what I'm saying? Dennis gonna call a defense. I think this is a good defensive coordinator signing. I struggled at the personnel matches what I'm used to seeing him play with.
Yeah, yeah,
Not to say that it's
100%.
bad. Not to say that it's a bad personnel. They just don't give me the vibes of the players that I've seen him work with before.
Yeah.
So I don't know what that's gonna look like.
Plus, I think
I don't know.
The Bears have turned into paying for defensive players a year too late in their career.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, they picked up T.J. Edwards from Philly 2 years ago. Probably a year too late, man. Like, there's a reason Philly didn't pay him. They
Yeah.
got Kevin Byard last year. We got him a year too late. That means y'all got him 2 years too late. Like,
yeah.
yeah, I don't know. He ain't gonna have the personnel that he's used to, like you
Yeah,
said.
I think there is a saving or a attempt saving grace is people like, well, Eberflus was a defensive coach. He kept us there. Dennis Allen is coming. Dennis will keep our defense solid. I'm just gonna go ahead and put it on record. I mess with Dennis Allen because I know he does defense. That brother is gonna call it up. I am just not. It just don't feel like when if you could pull up the Bears depth chart now and we could look at the defense. I just don't feel like the people I see on their defense match what I'm used to seeing him coach with. Not to say that they're bad. I just be like, they don't give me Dennis Allen vibes defense that I'm used to seeing. So again, we'll get to see. We'll get to see how that works out. But is just not defensively, those guys. I'm used to seeing, what I feel like is 3, 5, 7. It feels like they got 10 secondary players on the field at the same time.
Yeah, yeah, hell yeah.
Like how they deal with
And
stuff.
across the board
So
can all cover 1-on-1.
yeah, so I don't. But they also can you show their D line and the D line and it's so like when I'm used to seeing Dennis Allen with his D line, they had some dudes like what uh Deo came. I think Deo came from the Saints. Javon Dexter, Grady Jarrett coming over from Atlanta. They got Shamar Turner later on in the draft. Montez where Austin Booker is a guy that I like. I like the front. Again, they just don't seem to feel like the guys who I seen them work before. Jalen Johnson is a dog.
Yeah.
Where's my guy at? Jaquan Brisker, been messed with him. Like him. Like you said, Kevin, a little too late. Kyler Gordon, we know the brother hoops. Where Tariq Stevenson is at in this equation, we will find out. like we will find out. I also feel like Dennis got a lot of saving grace because of DeMario. And DeMario being in the middle of that defense. So
yeah, DeMario's one of those guys that's just like he's
yeah.
going to solidify at the very least that front seven.
Yeah.
He's gonna have control of that front seven.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know where. I mean, I want to see how this turns out because again, I do think Dennis Allen is one of the dudes who's a better coordinator than overall head coach. I don't think he was a bad head coach. I just think he was just found himself in the bottom end of it. But we'll see. Again, I just don't feel like the personnel matches what I'm used to seeing him work with. That's all. All right. 3 key players. Key players or not, 3 players that you have on your watch list this year for the Chicago Bears. I'll go ahead and go first. For me, can you roll? Everything's going to be on offense for me. Everything's going to be on offense for me. Number 1, Rome Odunze. Rome. Reason why I had a bunch of stock in Rome that got me roasted. I had Rome was wide receiver 2 in that draft for me, and people was neighbors. I was a Rome 2 guy. So I, trying to justify that feeling there. But then Luther Burden shows up. And, Colston Loveland shows up. And you're just like, oh my God, there's just a lot of targets here. And who's going to lose out on the love there? So Rome Odunze, because I don't want to say that there is potential to do it, but this is almost set up to where if they don't want to pay DJ because they're living off the Carolina contract for DJ can be moved off of and keep financial flexibility. So just putting that out there. If Luther is top dog that I think he is and Rome is, then they be like, hey, we just want to keep some cap flexibility because we got these guys. They're living off the Carolina contract from DJ. So Rome is on the top of my list. Who he is, what he will be. I'm not trying to put too much pressure on Burden or Loveland as rookies, even though I think they'll accent what the other guys do real well.
Mhm.
So for me, Roma Dunze is number one. Number two, put both the tackles in the damn box for number two for me, because everything that the Bears did for the interior is good. I like it. I like what they did on the interior. I think Joe Tooney is more of the pass protecting guard than pass rushing, like run blocking guard, which is cool. You're trying to keep Caleb upright with a smart dude who's been around. You got that. Darnell Wright and Braxton Jones, we got to figure it out. Mainly because I feel like their backups could kind of take the gig from them too.
Mhm.
Kyron and Ozzy, who they drafted, I feel like they could really be in the game to take from them too. So Drew Dalman coming over from the Falcons, Jonah Jackson in a trade. I feel like they addressed O-line, but we got to solidify the tackles. I don't think the interior is going to be Caleb's problem as much as I think solidifying those guys on the outside. So those are the other two. And then number three is Caleb. And the reason why it's Caleb is because Caleb is going to save Ryan Poe's job. When we came up here a couple years ago, I told y'all I like Ryan Poles. I like where he stood at. I like where he came. Then he came and traded with my team, and my team decided to hand him the number one pick. So, and if you watch Ryan, he's living off of that trade. He's living off the fact that he got that trade off, and it worked out perfect for him. I say
And
that
that's the only
because
thing that's worked out for him.
He doubled down this year in the draft by taking Loveland and Burden. His job is to say, I got y'all the quarterback. As long as he throw for 4K, keeping my job. As long as he throw for 3,500 and 35 TDs, keeping my job. That man's moves he's made has doubled down. That Caleb, like, I got him here. That's why I say Caleb is on the watch list. We'll see what Caleb looks like as the year goes on, but Caleb is going to cost somebody else. If he doesn't measure up to whatever standard they have, he's going to cost that man his job.
Man, my three. I'm gonna keep it real simple. DJ Moore is one, mainly because DJ Moore is not gonna end the season with the Bears.
Oh, snap! Bam, 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 bam.
DJ Moore is not going to end the season with the Bears. I think the Bears are gonna get to a point before the trade deadline. They're gonna realize, all right, man, we got some young guys over here. They still got Cole Kmet on his rookie deal, I believe. They got Colston Loveland.
No, they paid.
They paid him
Cole
last year.
Yeah, they paid him.
So they got Cole Kmet, got paid from their money, not from the Panthers' money. And you look at a guy like Roma Dunze, Luther Burden, and then you look at Colston Loveland and you say, yo, we might just gonna be able to go two receiver, two tight ends. Because Colston Loveland, he's you can play him real similar to the way you play Travis Kelce. Put him in the slot if you need to. He can run some wide receiver routes. He got that whole wide receiver tree. So I think they're gonna look at DJ Moore as expendable. They're gonna send him over to some sort of playoff team that needs a wide receiver too. So that's why I'm watching him. The other one I'm watching is Joe Tooney. You brought that man over. You paid him. How does he now improve your tackles? They got him at left guard, right? But I think he brings a lot of experience over there. We know the struggles of left tackle over in Kansas City. Both tackle spots. Joe Tooney did a lot of that to be able to mask a lot of that. A lot of what he did was to mask a lot of those problems at both tackle positions whenever they needed him to move around. Then the other one I'm looking at is Braxton Jones, like you said. Left tackle. What are you going to do to protect him, man? Like you said, Kieran can easily take that job. Not easily, but it's open for discussion. I'm not really going to look at the defense because the defense is what it is. I think they showed us who they're going to be the last 2 years. I don't think they're going to be anything different this year. They're going to continue to be who they are. They're gonna give up some points. They're gonna get some stops, especially with those corners over there having that dog of a corner, being able to have that nickel over there to be able to do what he does. All eyes on the offense though. DJ Moore, Joe Tooney, and Braxton Jones.
All right, bet. All right, let's get to the schedule and let's get a floor and a ceiling for the 2025 Chicago Bears. They open up week 1 Monday night at Minnesota. This will be the Caleb Williams versus JJ McCarthy game. Monday night. Back to back divisional games to open the season. Last year I don't think they had a divisional game before week 10.
0-2.
Yeah. 0-2 to start?
0-2.
0-2 to start?
0-2.
Ooh. Ah. Ah. All right.
We gonna get to
Dallas?
Minnesota. Minnesota's defense, not great. It's really good. And the coaching staff over there make sure to keep them in games. JJ McCarthy, I think, gives them a little bit more of a dynamic they didn't have with Darnold last year. He's not Darnold. A little bit more dynamic though.
All right. What you so Dallas at home is a dub?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
at the Raiders.
At the Raiders, they gonna lose that.
So you have them 1-3 at the bye week.
Big Pete, they're not beating Big Pete at home.
1-3 at the bye week. I'm like, I think I'm closer to 2-2.
Where's the second win
So
come?
3 1
At home to open.
Yeah, I would give them the opener more than I would say I would give them the win in Detroit. But I also don't want to give them that win against Dallas either. To be real with you, like you know what I'm saying.
That's me being nice. That's me being
That
nice.
is another rookie head coach we got to talk about eventually too. So, you know what? No, I'm gonna give him that one. I'm gonna give him that one. So right now, I can see 1-3. I think I'm closer to 2-2 at the bye week. After the bye week, Monday night, week 5, versus Washington at Washington. L
1-4.
Versus Saints at home.
They losing that too.
Give them the same. You got them losing?
I got them losing.
Kellen pulls the. Oh, you think you the whiz kid? I was the whiz kid for 4 years.
You got Kellen, new coach. You got
Kellen and
they're
Tyler,
playing against their old DC, bro. Like
the Dennis Allen revenge game.
you're not about to tell me that they're gonna look across the field and be like, man, we played against this every day in practice, bro. Like,
so I'm gonna give them the Saints because I'm not giving them Baltimore or Cincinnati.
I'm cool. I'm cool with giving them to
Baltimore. Cincinnati is
they losing both of those.
Versus the Giants.
They losing against New York too.
God, dog. Okay.
I look at New York's defense against Chicago's offense. They're losing against New York.
I'm gonna give them the home against New York. At Minnesota, I guess you got them splitting with Minnesota, right?
Nah, they getting swept. They getting swept.
God, dog. Philly, L. Green Bay, L.
At Green Bay, L. Cleveland, that's where you go and get your win against Shadur.
Oh my God! If there's a Bears fan listening to this, they turned it off at this point. They turned it off. We're hating, bro. They turned it off.
They probably turned it off at the point where we was like, were we right about last year? Or were we wrong about last year? We was right.
Yeah, they turned it off. This is crazy. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and give my floor 5. Just gonna give them the 4.
Yeah. Five is a good floor.
5
I'm cool with 5.
Is a-okay then. 5 floor is a-okay. We can do 5 floor. Where's the ceiling?
5. 7. 7 is the ceiling, man.
7. Can you go back to the top, please? Let me walk through. All right, so we're 2-2 at the bye week coming out. Let's just say generously. We're not gonna say 2-2 at the bye week coming out at Washington. Giving you the dub versus New Orleans, New York.
3-5. 4-5. At this point,
damn, I'm not gonna lie, that's 7 actually.
That's what I'm saying, bro. You get to week 11, you really think they're gonna be 4-5? You really think they're gonna come out of week 11 5-5? I can't see it.
All right, floor for the Bears will be 5. Ceiling will be 8 for me. Again, that's ceiling. That's ceiling. The ceiling will then constitute them. I think they would have to go 3-1 before the bye week. I think they would have to catch the Dallas team early. The back-to-backs with Green Bay at that point of the season, weeks 14 and 16, with Cleveland in the middle of it, isn't very friendly on the road. Christmas-ish. Yeah, I'm gonna have to go 5 floor, 8 ceiling.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to go 5 floor, 8 ceiling.
Don't worry, y'all. We got 3 other teams to do.
Yeah, that's crazy. All right. Ceiling and floor for the Chicago Bears is 5 and 8. Well, 5 wins, 8 wins. Is there anything in this that says this team will be above 500?
No.
All right. Are you playing your flag on that one or no?
100%.
Okay, 100%. All
100%.
right, y'all. That is our overview, real quick, of the Chicago Bears. Now we are on to the Green Bay Packers.
What does Chuck
Over the
say?
pot list. The Green Bay Packers.
Guarantee.
Let's go ahead and get that big man on the screen first, Matt LaFleur. Let's pull up Matt LaFleur in the Packers last year. Let's talk about who was once our tribal coach, the most underrated, underappreciated head coach in the game, Matt LaFleur. That title is now moved to Kevin O'Connell because Matt should be, he's no longer underrated or underappreciated. Matt should be in your top 5.
Yes. Yes.
So Matt should
Yes.
be, he should be in the top 5, right?
He's
So
in ours. He's
in
not
ours.
gonna
So
be
he's
in
no
everybody
longer
else's
underrated,
because
underappreciated coach.
he gonna be in ours. He ain't gonna be in everyone else's because everybody else is who they are and they like to listen to
Yeah.
just,
So Matt,
general population media.
so where's the debate in Matt's rankings? So we got Andy, Sean, Nick, and I feel like those are the only 3 you can like be like, okay, like I don't want to say not debate it, but you know what I'm saying? I feel like those are the only 3 where you could be like, hey, it's almost harder to put him over because you know what I'm saying?
Could probably throw McDermott in there.
I'm taking LaFleur over McDermott.
Okay. Not mad at that.
Yeah.
Not mad at
Yeah,
that.
I'm taking LaFleur over McDermott. I'm still taking LaFleur over O'Connell, but we just had we had a tribal coach, Kevin O'Connell. We've been trying to, I wish we could have tribal coach Brian Daboll, but you know what I'm saying? He kind of he folded on us a little bit.
Vanilla Vic.
Yeah, so I think the only 3 coaches who I'd be like, yeah, if we was the rank, Kyle, you doing Kyle?
No,
Big Dog Shanahan,
I can't.
Sean Payton,
I can't.
the Hard brothers.
I can't.
Oh, neither one of the Hard brothers.
The LA Hard brothers. The LA Hard brother is closer than the Baltimore Hard brother. He's closer.
Closer than the Baltimore
I look
Hard
at
brother.
Harbaugh and Tomlin the same way right now. I have seen the same thing from y'all for the last 5 years. I don't want to hear nothing about anything until y'all are in the Super Bowl.
Got you.
That's
All right.
Their seasons are fully banked on Super Bowl or bust. Legitimately, the only coaches that I look at now, Super Bowl or bust. Nothing else.
All right. So we just want to take a moment to acknowledge everything that is Matt LaFleur. And, for a while we kept telling people most underrated, underappreciated coach in the game. And we hope you've been around. Wake up. LaFleur is one of the top head coaches in the game to us. So that is all. So the Packers on that end, we ain't got to really recap too much. They don't got too much front office changes. This change. I think they do got a new defensive coordinator, right? Or he's going into his second year.
Second year, I think.
Yeah, going into his second year. I got to remember his name. Let's look at the roster. And last year's record for how did the Packers go for you last year? To me, 11-6, about right where I expected them.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was right there. Again, I think I still had them third. Well, no, I think I had them second with Minnesota.
Yeah,
third,
I think I had them. I think I had them second too.
Yeah, I think I still had them second with Minnesota third. It was still kind of closest. Like I think I still had each one of them. I know for a fact I still had Green Bay 10 wins. I think I still had Minnesota 10. I did not expect 14, 15 for them.
Me neither.
That's what it is. All right, recapping the Packers. Jacobs, what a monster last year. Xavier McKinney, what a monster last year. I do wonder, I know they released Alexander, what it would have looked like if he was healthy. Edgerrin Cooper. Edgerrin Cooper. Hoops. And somebody who I just haven't heard too much about, that feel like I might need my peoples in the Green Bay area in fandom to let me know. Can you go down to defense, please? What in the world is going on with Lucas Van Ness?
Yo, bro disappeared.
Yeah, it feels like the brother disappeared. And it also feels like Pilot owes me an apology because at the end of the day, me and him both had an argument over who's better, Rashawn Gary or Brian Burns, and I think we both were wrong. You know what I'm saying? So I think we both, I think
I
we
think we
both were
both were
wrong.
wrong.
Yeah, on who's better, Rashawn Gary or Brian Burns at this point. So, you know what I'm saying? Edgerrin Cooper, hoops. Again, what is somebody please fill me in on what is going on with Lucas Lyness? Javon Bullard, mess with the guy. Like him.
Dog.
Yeah, excited to see what he's coming into next year. And Quay Walker, of course, doing what Bulldogs do, killing it. So, as a team, again, everything that was the Packers last year, expected. Well coached team, grew, some players came in. Um, Tyron Hooper. We'll see what he about next year. Hopefully he's not a roster cut this year or something. You know what I'm saying? Look at Christian Watson with 3 tackles in the game, man. Picking up for Jordan Love slack. Hey, Christian Watson, CB4 on your roster. You ain't got him in there.
Hey,
Pick him up.
yo.
Bo Milton is now training at DB.
But yeah, I
News
remember you
dropped
saying
today.
that earlier.
Yeah,
That's wild.
yeah, Bo Milton training at DB, so that's crazy. Can you go to the wide receiver stats, please? Let's look at the wide receiver stats up there, and we can talk about some of these guys up there. I think I came up here and I said Dontavian Wicks was going to be the sneaky guy, and I think he was the one who was getting kicked off of for his attitude, if I remember right. It just never felt like every time I watched the Packers, they could have a healthy unit. Somebody was getting a hamstring or a concussion. It was like, dang, all of y'all can't stay on the field. Yeah, like all y'all can't stay on the field. So, the tight end duo that is Kraft and Musgrave, I mess with them. Didn't
They
expect
disappointed me. Yeah, they disappointed me this year.
Yeah, like what Tucker? I feel like Tucker who? I feel like
Tucker did. But I think Luke Musgrave going down changed the whole dynamic of that. He only played 7 games, 7 receptions, 10 targets. Like that to me changed everything.
Christian Watson. I think that brother's gonna need some money here soon.
Yep.
And I think that's why the golden pickup was a thing. Even though I don't remember him being available. I felt like Emeka Ibuka was the perfect receiver for what LaFleur and them be wanting to do. So, I felt like the golden pickup was Watson insurance. So
I think Watson gonna get a Drake London money.
That'd be crazy. I think that screws the rest in the room if he does. Like I think like a Dobbs and a Wicks will be gone. I think Jaden would stay around. I don't think they could give Watson that type of bread and keep the other two.
I mean, if anything, you can almost look at it like a San Francisco situation where they pay Reed, and then Watson is the Debo guy who ends up somewhere else.
Yeah.
Just because if we talk about health,
Packers well-run team, well-run roster to me. Well coached. I think we just got to talk about who is the wild card of all wild cards in the entirety of the NFC picture and the NFL quarterback picture, man. That man, Jordan Love. And what do we really expect and what really is the Love machine?
I'm gonna be honest with you, man. I look at Jordan Love, and I think the one thing that's gonna change everything for Jordan Love is just his football maturity. His football maturity, meaning his football IQ and the quality of decisions he makes. If that can turn and take the turn in year what? This is year 5 for him.
Year 3 as a starter, though, right? 3
as a starter, year 5 in the NFL. If he can make that turn this year, they could easily be number 1. I remember last year we talked about this, and I had Green Bay teetering being the number 1 seed in the NFC North.
I think there was a play against the Rams where, like, I think they came back and LaFleur was like, they do film grades. And he was like, he was like, even though it was a 50-yard bomb and he got us to the goal line, that grade was a 0. Like, he said, I gave him a 0 on it. He said that was the wrong pass to make. He was like, so yeah, I do think it is like Jordan just leveling off. You know what I'm saying? Like I had somebody in the comments TikTok video said they wish Jordan scrambled more. And I was like, I'm not saying Jordan's not athletic, but I don't think I want Jordan getting on the move more. You know what I'm saying? But
The more
it's
he
always
gets on the
funny when they
move,
talk.
the worse decision he
Yeah,
makes.
when Jordan drop back and do that one hop, that ball is gone for 40, boy.
Bro, Jordan Love is us on the fish tables or us in the
Yeah,
casino, bro.
yeah, just
We
all
we
in,
up
baby.
we up a couple
Yeah,
$100. All in on
you
black.
gotta go. Send
All in
it,
on
send
black.
it. Yeah,
Mandela.
I came in with 100. We up to 1,000, but I want 10. We up, like
Yeah.
we up. So
I'm gonna put
I think
900 on the table and I'm gonna keep my 100 I came in with.
Jordan is 100% the wild card to me. Just in the NFC and just in the quarterback, like I said, discussion in general, because you can look up there and you could be like, the brother has, the ability to throw off of any platform and still get it there. And you know what I'm saying? And you just like, okay, that's there. That's kind of crazy. Some of these throws you make. Like you said, there is those inconsistencies on the back end. And then you're just like, I said, bro, if you clean that up and you keep your guy, you keep y'all ahead and we see better decision making consistently throughout. Like, bro, there's no reason, again, you shouldn't be pushed more towards the topper of the quarterback discussions right now. So yeah, I'm always like I say, he really is the wild card in the quarterback discussion to me
He should
for
he, sh-
exactly
he
what you
should be a
said.
top 10 quarterback.
Yeah,
I mean, I put him in the
yeah,
same conversation that we put Herbert. It's like if the quality of decisions you make just improve. Only difference is Love got the targets. Herbert don't. Like, I don't know, man.
um, Matthew Golden, first round wide receiver. We always joke that the Packers won't take one, and they took one. So there is investment there. What is your expectations for Matthew Golden in year one? He was a dude for me who obviously when I watch Texas, I'm watching for Isaiah Bond because that was my dude,
Yeah.
and the brother's not even in the league right now. And then Bowden, who I believe went back, was fire. But then Matthew Golden just seemed to have the best 5 games of his season when it mattered most towards the end of the year for Texas. And you just go back, you're like, yo, this brother's winning on everything. And I don't want to put him in that same box, but I felt like with him how I felt with AD Mitchell. I'm like, this brother can win. He don't look like he's moving as fast as he is because they're just super smooth. But you're like, oh, this brother's zooming past people, contested catch. You could tell he's catching DBs off guard. So like, I kind of have pretty higher expectations for Golden. I think in like his usage, I don't want to say like I could see him being like a honey catch guy, but if you told me, I would put my money on him that he would be the double digit touchdown guy on this team.
Um, I look at
Like
Matthew
if there was a
Golden.
double, yeah, if there was a double digit wide receiver on the Packers, I would be like, it's Matthew Golden next year.
Matthew Golden is the Jamison Williams of this team.
Mm,
Bro wins every route he runs.
yeah,
Jamison Williams is open every route he runs. I mean, I'd give him like an 85%, 85% win rate. Jamison Williams wins damn near every route. And it helps because you got Amon Ra over there. Then you got the pretty much your safety or your corner CB2 on the tight end. I look at I
yeah,
look at this roster, very similar. Matthew Golden can be your Jamison Williams. He got top end speed, but he can route the hell out of everybody.
yeah. I miss for Golden. I think Golden's numbers might be higher in touchdown production than I think in catches and yardage because I think there's a lot of love to be shared. But I think he's going to find those matchups and they're going to use him that way. And I said I kind of have a floor for him of like 7 TDs next year.
Damn, damn,
Yeah, I
damn.
said I think he'll be closer to double digits than like if he had like 5, I would really have to go back and be like, what happened, bro? Like
I
I
can
would be like just
I
a
can see
little upset
seven.
if
I
I
can see
see him with
seven
5.
total. Because I mean, I
Yeah,
think he's the type of dude where you get him out on the edge on like a jet sweep or something,
yeah,
or
but like,
like a
and I'm
play
looking at like
action.
all their packages, like we see like goal line packages. Like I think he's gonna get a good goal line, like yeah, not fade routes, but the creativity they use and just these quick. Yeah, I think Golden could win that stuff, man.
Yeah, yeah,
So
I'm with that.
yeah, like I would again. If we come back and Golden is 9, 10 touchdown dude, I'm not gonna be shocked. Not in year one. Like
Yeah.
and I usually would never do that for a wide receiver. Like I just be like, oh, let it. I like I said again, if we came back and Golden had like 5, I'd be like, yeah, what? Let me see what's going on over there. Obviously, we gonna
Whose
watch.
fault is this?
Yeah, let me see what's
Is this
going on
Jordan's
over there
fault?
because I think it's almost gonna be difficult with what I think he brings to this team to like not have him on the field. And so brother smooth, and he gets to it, man. I was really impressed with what I saw with him at the end of the year. So yeah. Quiet as it's kept. Jordan Morgan, man, get on that O line, man. I had some stock in you from the draft, man. I need you to get up there and start somewhere, brother. Get in there and give some love, man. I was trying to get you up out the draft, Jordan. But they got hitters up there on the O line. It just seems like the Packers always keep a solid O line around.
Yeah.
So yeah. I'm sorry, Packers fans, if it don't feel as in depth, like kind of how we went with the Bears, because they went through a lot of changes and a lot of things. But you're a good team with one of the better coaches and a wild card of a quarterback. I really like your weapons overall. Again, the defense is there. Just feel like you're a team who, again, would not be shocked if, you know, you went on a run this year. Again, it's there. I do think, like you said, we talked about is Jordan and the decision making that I think is going to be what changes everything. And Marshawn Lloyd, last year I said I thought they had the best 3 running backs. Now it's the 2 tandem. And Malik Willis gonna get you one, man. I'm glad you're over there doing something good, chilling, man. Malik Willis and Sean Clifford. Sean Clifford, who at Penn State made Will Levis leave to Kentucky. Never forget the legend that is Sean Clifford.
Hey man,
We're never gonna let it down.
Malik Willis's run last year when Jordan Love was hurt says everything about this organization and coaching staff.
Yeah.
Especially
Yeah,
after Malik Willis was handled in Tennessee.
Yeah. I just think highly of everything that they got going on over there. Again, this is a team when we do go to it. I'm not like automatically, even before looking at the structure of the schedule, the floor for me is at 9. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I think it's just finding that window of like how high do I think they will go.
I think the floor is like 9 to 10, and I mean,
yeah,
I might as well.
That's before we look at how the schedule's going. But before we do that, real quick, top 3 key players or your watch list players. Go to defense, please, just so I can remember the name. The 3 players I will be looking at. You know what? Let's go ahead and start it off. Make it hot. Lucas Van Ness. Again, if I'm wrong on him, I'm wrong on him. I like the brother coming out. It just felt like he disappeared. Lucas Van Ness. Show me what you're working with, brother. Edgerrin Cooper. I just want him to be great because I don't want the linebacker position to fall into this place after Fred Warner and them dip out. So, you know what I'm saying? I seen enough in Edgerrin Cooper to be like, brother, I need you to keep, make the linebacker, let the bloodline live on. That's what I want to see. And then Javon Bullard. I liked him coming out. I know Kalen King was a pickup later on in the draft that I like too, but there is a hole there in the secondary. I feel like with Alexander being gone, I know he had injuries, but there is a hole there to me. So just seeing who fills out on the corners is very important because I do feel like looking at it, I trust your safeties enough that I feel like it should help out your corners, but that's probably my biggest question mark is the corner rotation.
Yeah. For me, it's the cornerback room. I would say the whole secondary, but like you said, man, that safety duo is nice. Xavier McKinney, I think, had 7 to 9 interceptions last year. But I'm looking at that secondary in that corner room. That to me is going to be something I look at all season, especially after losing Jair. When you got a guy that can, when he was healthy, take one side of the field away.
Yeah.
Then everything else on the other side just kind of goes under the, it goes under the radar because everybody's focused on that one side that's gone basically. The other thing who I'm gonna just call it number 3 is Jordan Love. Your decision making is going to be the reason y'all win 12 games, or it's going to be the reason y'all hit your floor in 9 games.
Yep.
But that's what I'm looking at, man. The secondary room or the corner room, and then Jordan Love.
All right. Let's get to this schedule and get us a floor and a ceiling for the 2025 Green Bay Packers. Opening up week 1 at home versus Detroit because I have them splitting. I'm going to have them take week 1.
Yeah, they're taking week 1.
I'll give them the home game. And then short week in it, Thursday night versus the Commanders at the crib again. I'll give them that.
They 2-0. Yeah, they 2-0.
Is they 4-0 at the bye week?
Yes, 100%.
Oh.
They're going into Dallas and going Sasa again.
That's crazy. The Packers are 4-0 to the bye week. This if you're a Bears fan and you stayed this long after what we did to you up to your bye week, and you heard us say the Packers are 4-0 to theirs, you were just shaking your fist at us. I understand if you like say bad things in the comments because that's crazy.
I feel bad. I feel
Out
bad
the
for the
bye week.
NFC North all having week 5, or at least two of the 4 teams with a week 5 bye week.
Week 6 L out of bye week. I know we don't do that, but this is this is a 1-4 Bengals team.
Yo. Hey,
You know what I'm
yo.
saying? This is Desperate Joe and Jamar taking advantage because they got to turn it up now. You know what I'm saying?
That's wild.
So yeah, so I'm gonna do that. Then they go
4-1.
at Arizona and at Pittsburgh. I don't feel comfortable giving them both of those.
Nah,
For some odd reason, I don't.
I don't even feel comfortable giving them one.
The Aaron Rodgers revenge game, Pittsburgh,
Yeah,
baby. Forget
that's why I
all
look at
about that.
that. Like Arizona was on a roll last year, right? Health obviously played a little bit of a factor, but I think they lose to both of them. They're 4-3 after the bye.
Oh, so they 4-4 because they damn sure losing to the Panthers, baby. The Bryce Young revenge game. They sold us. We spiked that ball at 1 second, man. We spiked that ball that last game. So hot. So 4-0 at the bye week, out of the bye. Cool. You know what I'm saying? I'm just throwing it. Boom, you get 5. So you're at 6 by the time you get to Philly. So right now I got 6 by the time you get to Philly. Philly to toss up.
Nah, hell no. Hell no.
Yeah, you're not going.
Hell no. Hell no, that's not a toss up. No. We beat the ass in Brazil. We beat them in the playoffs. We about to beat them again this year.
Boom. At New York, give you that.
Yeah.
At home versus Minnesota, give you that. On the road versus Detroit, not giving you that. You had them sweeping Chicago. That's 2 right there. At Denver, interesting.
That's a toss up because it's week 15. Standings is gonna play a whole big factor into this in week 15. Denver's not who we thought they was 2 years ago. They not who they were 2 years ago, bro. Bo Nix is him.
We got 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So there is a 12-win ceiling.
Mhm.
There is a 12-win ceiling. There is a 12-win ceiling. I think I'm comfortable to say I see a 9-win floor.
Yeah.
So anything under 500 to me is a failure for the 2025
100%.
Packers.
100%.
Yeah. So I see the 9 wins, the 12. That's So 9 floor, 12 ceiling. That's where I'm at.
Yeah.
That's where I'm at. All right. Any final thoughts on Green Bay before we head over to Minnesota?
Oh, sir. Like you said, man, straightforward, great organization, great quarterback, great wide receiver.
They do their thing.
Easy to look at.
All right, on to the Minnesota Vikings with tribal coach Kevin O'Connell. Brother in the game, some people calling him overrated. I said, you just now realize how good he is. Now you don't want to admit how good he is. Kevin O'Connell in the building, man. The brother has done nothing but really good regular seasons and has folded in the playoffs. You know what I'm saying? I think a part of that leans onto the quarterback play of what he was aiming for. But going into next year, he has his guy. Recapping, that was the 2024 Vikings. They definitely overexceeded. There was too many people to me who was the Vikings will finish last. And I was like, Kevin O'Connell's too good of a coach. Brian Flores too good of a coach. That team is still a good roster. That team, I said, shouldn't be under 500. They obviously didn't go under 500. And when I hold you into that esteem of being that coach, you usually do have to keep a 500 record for me, barring something wild and crazy happening. So where you at on Kevin? Top dog, Kevin.
Kevin. Now he's definitely one of those top coaches. Right outside of the top 5, definitely top 10. What he's done with that team.
Kevin or the Hard Brothers?
Right now?
Kevin. Kevin or Sean Payton?
That's tough.
Kevin or Sean McDermott?
Kevin.
Kevin or Mike Vrabel?
Kevin. And I like Vrabel. I love Vrabel. I love
I,
Vrabel.
I don't want us to not
But
forget about Vrabel in
but
the occasion.
results speak for what it is. And
Yeah, yeah,
the
yeah.
hardest thing for me to go Kevin or Sean is because what Sean did with Bo Nix. Bo Nix and the young wide receiver core into the playoffs.
Kevin or Pistol Pete?
Kevin.
Okay.
Kevin. Pistol Pete, man. Like Pete, you was cool 10 years ago. You played out now, bro.
Okay.
You played out
Bet.
now, bro.
Hey, just want to take a moment to acknowledge our tribal coach, Kevin O'Connell. That's all we want to do is just acknowledge him. Eventually, because he's getting his love, the tribal coach title will be moved on. Somebody's got to come take it first. Somebody's got to come take it first. We don't just hand out tribal coach honors to anybody. So yeah, they definitely over exceeded for me last year. Again, I didn't expect them to go under 500. Did not expect 14 wins. So I know a lot of people would put Minnesota to the bottom of the rankings, and that's just not the case. Yeah. Um, and I'll make that quick because be honest with you, to the 2025 Vikings, I just really think it boils down to one question, man. And I hate to make it that simple for the team, but it is JJ.
100%.
Like, it genuinely is just JJ. I feel like everything we said, different construction roster wise, about the Packers can be duplicated with the Vikings. Great coach, great weapons, one of the best weapons. Love your defensive coordinator and what he does with the defense. They've had their battles, they do their thing. And now it's just the consistency of what I can trust Kevin O'Connell to give to his quarterbacks to make the offense easy, friendly for them, and productive. Now it's just asking, do we think JJ can do that after being injured? Like the brother is coming back from an injury. He is getting all first team reps. He is being treated as the man. So it's just kind of like, do we temper expectations of the team? Because I don't think Minnesota is okay with being like, nah, bro, we just want 9 wins. I think Minnesota wants to win.
Yeah. I also don't think Kevin O'Connell's going to come in and be passive with what he gives JJ McCarthy. If
No, I
anything,
don't think he is either.
I think the playbook is bigger now with JJ in it as opposed to Sam Darnold, right? Because everyone going into game planning for a Sam Darnold, whether you're the coach with him on your team or the coach you're playing against him, you know what Sam Darnold's capable of. You have expectations already. JJ McCarthy, you're looking at him like, bro, this is a blank sheet. I saw what you did in
Yeah.
college. You have the physical attributes that Sam Darnold does not have. Let's
Yeah.
open the playbook up. Let's be aggressive.
I don't want to ignore the addition of Donovan Jackson. Christian Darrisaw a monster, but in that playoff game, the Rams was able to get after it. I think the addition of Donovan Jackson onto the O line will help them out a lot next year and into the future. Jordan Addison, quiet as it's kept, one of the low key best receivers in the game on a supporting cast with Jettas, man.
Mm-hmm.
So I definitely think that's becoming a heavier 1-2 punch. Nothing against the rest of the supporting cast, but them two brothers kill it. Them two brothers kill it. Can you
They,
show the defense, please?
they went on that winning streak. Like they won as many games they did last year without having T.J. Hawkinson for a good amount of the season too.
Yeah,
So
yeah. I cry every time I just see Jeff Okudah's name get pushed into oblivion because I thought he was one of the ones coming out. So internally, I cry. Hargraves, Phillip, Gennard, Allen, just Brian Flores front for your behind. Dallas Turner, apps like dude should have big upside on what he's gonna do. Kobe King, sneaky pickup to me. I think he's got. I I think he has a role that can be played that can be really really effective early. See how he develops from there. The ageless wonder that is Harrison Smith, and yeah,
they got bro
I'm
off the
still
couch last year. Like
yeah
they said, hey,
yeah
we need you, big dog. Come back.
yeah. So you know what? I actually wouldn't be shocked if I seen the Vikings make a push for a corner.
Hey man, maybe this is where Jalen Ramsey lands. I love Jalen Ramsey here too.
Or to me, even like a Justin Blackman safety that was at the Colts. Like I feel like something might need to be added to the secondary. Um,
Jair could even end up over here.
yeah, which will be funny. I think that'll be the funny outcome. I'm kind of pushing for that now. So again, like it's a good team, really good team. Um, when does Andrew Van Ginkel finally like show he's not awesome? You know what I'm saying? Or like Ivan Pace Jr. Like you said, like it's just I feel like it's a well coached team with well players who just like I can trust that they're going to be productive in the next year. So that's why like it. I don't want to make it as basic as like for the Vikings to me, but it is that basic for the Vikings to me. Is who and what JJ is going to be next year.
Yeah, yeah. And I mean, with those two names you threw out there, Van Ginkel and Ivan Pace, man, those are when you got two motors over there who knows that they're not the most talented of dudes, but they work their ass off, and you could tell just in their play style, like these dudes just work.
Yeah,
They're not physical freaks. They just work their ass off.
yeah.
When you got guys like that on your defense, man, they're gonna show up. They're gonna be in the right place at the right time.
They just feel like Flores guys. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Guys
yeah,
who,
100%.
yeah, just feel like Flores guys.
You like
But
me
I,
run
I'm,
through a
I'm
wall, I
putting,
run through a wall.
yeah, I'm putting my hat in Minnesota, adding to the corner room before we get to the preseason. Somebody's gonna end up going over there, getting added to that team. So, um, key players for me. But keep it real with you. Uh, the running back room.
Mm.
The running back room. Um, whatever's gonna happen from there, because I know what's the production I'm gonna get from Addison and Jefferson, and believe the O line is gonna be solid for the course of the year, and Hawkinson coming back. What type of production are we gonna get out the running back room? Like you want to keep a good running team. Obviously, we know that, but like, what type of production are we gonna get from them? You know, and I don't want to make it about JJ because again, stated that the running back room. What type of production there? And then could you go to defense, please, just so we can get a look at the defense? Yeah, the running back room for me. To me, the emergence of Dallas Turner just kind of again. I think the room is stacked. I think they got a lot of people. I think the brother Hoops. Just I want to see what his year two looks like. Um, and then the other one was, oh yeah, Byron Murphy Jr. I know he got added over and brought over,
Mm-hmm.
like you said, but like in the nickel, I know they move things around, but I feel like those are the key guys for me: Dallas Turner, Byron Murphy, in the running back room outside of JJ.
I'm gonna go with that D line across the board. Jonathan Allen, Harrison Phillips, Javon Hargrave. They got a little bit of a depth in the draft and then in the free agency, but I look at that I look at that D line. A little bit of age over there. Hargrave coming over from what was it? I think he came over from San Francisco after leaving Philly. Um, that's 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 where that's what I'm looking at for this team. Is what's that D line gonna do to cause some disruption? I like the cornerback room, especially with the addition of Isaiah Rogers. Dude was balling in Indianapolis before he got suspended for gambling. Philly picked him up, used him in great situations, especially when Darius Slake went down. So I think for him being a full-time number one over there is going to be huge for him. I think he's going to show up and
Yeah,
show out.
yeah, that's right. Then I am. Can we go to JJ real quick? Let's see if we can do a. I don't want to say a over under. I don't want to say a over under. A matter of fact, could you go to Minnesota passing? Yeah, the stat leaders for the Vikings. Just like go to Viking stat leaders. I think you're gonna have to actually go to the
Oh,
team.
just the
Yeah, go to
Vikings
just
itself.
Vikings. Yeah, go to just Vikings. I want to measure something here real quick. So cool. Yeah, we'll look at it right there. I just want to walk through this. Last year, Sam, 66%, 4,000 yards, 35 TDs, 12 picks. Cool. Can you go to the year before, please? I want to look at the next 2 years before Sam, because that should all be under Kevin. This is where I felt like Kevin showed how much he could cook because I felt like he got everything he could out of these guys with what he could.
Facts.
But the quarterback room as a unit, 67%, 30 touchdowns, 19 picks, 4,700 yards. And then could we go to the year before? And Alexander Madison, was their leading running back that year. And Dalvin Cook, 1,100. Big Kirko, 65%, 29 touchdowns, 14 picks. Like, so it's seeming like there's a consistency of about 30 passing touchdowns and double-digit picks. Now that year, the other year, not this main Kirk year, but the other one, there was 3, 4 different quarterbacks. The 2023 season, but Sam still threw a bunch of them O's, like 19 total picks. Sam still threw. I remember what Mullins threw like 4 in the Bengals game. I think that one time,
Alone.
and I think they still almost won. So yeah, so I see a consistency of 30 passing touchdowns. Should we be asking JJ to give us 30?
Nah, 20. I think 20, like 27 is probably his floor.
But I also see the double-digit picks, even though Sam did 12 of them. It's just more games, so more things can happen. I know college ain't, 10, 11 games. It's just more in the NFL, so things happen. Are
Sacks
we
48
asking?
times. God damn.
Are we asking JJ to throw less picks than Sam?
No. Floor 9, ceiling like 15.
And you got the floor for passing touchdowns like 26.
26, 26, 27.
I could do that.
With
I
the
could do a 26, 27, and like 12. I don't want to see him go more than Sam. I don't want to see him go 12.
Yeah, nah. And I mean, I think sacks will probably be down a little bit just because I mean, like I said, JJ gives you a little bit more of the athleticism. Decision
Yeah.
making is obviously going to be something that we look at and say, did you hold the ball a little too long? Is that what created the sack? Or
And at least from what I know from JJ, hearing from Harbaugh and the things, is like he can take the game from the neck up. Like he'll mentally be able to know what he's looking at. You know what I'm saying? So I don't think bad decision making will be a consistent for him. You know, I do question like his actual throwing.
mm,
Like that's what I question. I was like, man, I don't see what people see in him throwing, but like I felt like as a smart dude, I feel like, oh no, he knows what he's looking at. Like he can understand and dissect. I feel like that works there. All right. I'm still gonna ask you about 35, 3,600 from JJ though, because I feel like the offense is still gonna want to run it and let it go.
100%. Like I said, I don't
So
think they'll take a step back as far as play calling. If anything, it opens up the playbook a little bit more with JJ.
let's get to the floor and ceiling for the Minnesota Vikings. You gave them the week 1 dub against Chicago, right?
Yep.
And then we got week 2 versus Atlanta. Bank 4 home games, 5 home games in a row. God dang!
What are
One of them
those
got to
two
be
asterisks?
overseas.
Neutral location. Yeah, two of those are
Yeah,
overseas, Pittsburgh and
yeah,
Cleveland.
they 2 of them. I forgot. Yeah, 2 of them is gone somewhere. So that's crazy. All right, are they starting 3-0?
Damn,
A
maybe.
Packers 4 a Packers 4-0 start and a Vikings 3-0 start would be
Now
funny.
you know what? I got them 2-1. Um, because I think Cincinnati has too much firepower for JJ to have to come out
I feel like this
and
is the
match
second.
that.
Well, you giving Cincinnati the win here, but I felt like with the Packers we gave them the L, right? So so sometimes you try to watch what team is catching too many random stray L's in the floor silly. Because right now, like the Bears just taking mad L's in this chat for us, so like I just know that isn't looking good overall. All right, so Pittsburgh game is gone somewhere. I think that's neutral. It's like $799 tickets.
Damn.
Um, I don't know where you at on the Pittsburgh game.
Aaron Rodgers, that defense is always going to be that defense. I'm gonna give it to Pittsburgh on that one.
In Cleveland,
Oh, they beating Cleveland.
bye week, come out with at home versus Philly. Out of the bye week, don't like the matchup. Not gonna take them. At the Chargers, third a short week.
Damn.
I'm gonna toss up that one. Uh, are you any divisional games you have them splitting, sweeping?
It's probably unpopular, but they might sweep Detroit. They might,
I'm gonna
and
take the split.
the reason I say that, Frank Ragnow retired. That's a big piece of that Detroit offensive line.
I'm gonna go with the split. I'm giving them the split with
I'm okay going with
everybody.
the split, but I would not be
Yeah,
surprised if for some reason they dropped. They
yeah. I'm gonna give them the
Detroit
split with
dropped both.
everybody. I'm gonna give them the split. So they,
Even with Chicago?
well, yeah. So actually, if I gave them like the home game, that means they would start. They would still start. They would start 1-2 or 2-1 because I would give Chicago the home game. But I gave Chicago the toss up on that one too because it was a home game. So I'll give them the split with them with everybody.
Green Bay split. They lose to Baltimore.
Yeah, I'm not gonna take them over Baltimore. The
Who you
toss
got?
up:
Seattle
Seattle, Washington, Dallas. That's
in
a that's
Seattle.
a that's a window. I'm kind of man. The Sam Darnold revenge game.
I think they lose in Seattle.
Oh, I ain't mad at it. 12th man ain't gonna play.
Lose in
I'm
Seattle. They
not mad
win
at it.
against Washington at home, and then they lose against Dallas on the road.
Interesting. Come back with a dub against New York. Then they also beat Detroit because they split the series at the crib. And a flex game versus Green Bay to end the year. I'm giving them the split. So that's looking like a 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 floor. 8 floor.
Damn. Yeah.
Which I'm okay with an 8 floor. But where's the ceiling?
10, 10, 11.
Yeah, I think I'd have to do 10, 11 myself also.
Because I mean, the way I'm looking at it, with Green Bay's number one. I think Green Bay finishes number one in this division. There's gonna be a fight for number two with Detroit,
Yeah,
Minnesota.
8 floor, 11 ceiling. That's where I'm at. 8 floor, 11 ceiling. That's where
Yeah.
I'm at. Any final thoughts on the Minnesota Vikings before we move on to the Detroit Lions?
Nope.
Let's move on down to D-Town in Detroit, Motown. Heading over there, Dapper Dan Campbell and Brad Holmes running the game, biting ankles, doing his thing. And the question we are always going to ask: are you a good head coach or are you a great head coach? Can you sustain coordinator changes, brother? Two of your peoples, they out the building, but you still got your GM in the building, Brad Holmes. Where were you at on Dapper Dan Campbell?
I love Dan. I love Dan as a coach. To me, Dan is one of those like, uh, what's the popular saying? He's a player's coach. He's a man's man. You know what I'm saying? I like
Yep.
Dan. Um, losing his coordinators, I think is gonna losing his coordinators, losing Frank Ragnow. I think that's gonna be a big change next year, which is a reason I don't have them doing as good as they did this year or last year. They're gonna be fighting for second or third in the NFC North. Um, I don't know, man. He's a good motivator, but we're about to find out this year what kind of game planner he is.
Yep. I'm excited to see myself because I do think people, I think everybody wants to see, but I think we're missing, I think people are missing the like, remember, Dan took a lot of heat for the first year in Detroit. It was a lot of
Mm-hmm.
people like him. And, there was a lot of names in that building people weren't aware of until they started to pick it up that back half for the second year and, ended strong and carried it into the next season. So, definitely got my respect. Again, I'm on notice with them too. Just wanting to see how he sustains the coordinator changes. And again, Brad Holmes, the GM, has just done a great job of drafting and finding the right pieces and stuff. So
Yeah.
again, I just like what they've built over there. And to me, they've built a team that is almost immune to be bad.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? But again, like last year was just such a like almost like a perfect pitch season.
Yeah.
It's very hard to double down on
And
that. I
and
know
and I mean the caveat with that is they went the last quarter of the season with a depleted defense
yeah, a
and a
lot of people
significantly depleted defense. So
yeah,
I I, I feel like we can easily look at Dan Campbell and put him situationally in the same conversation as Nick Sirianni, right? Neither one of these dudes are defensive or offensive geniuses, right?
Yeah.
They're great at managing everything. They're great
Yeah.
at getting their guys and banding them together and just getting them where they need to go, right?
Yep.
So to me, I almost look at that this year and say, damn, you lost a lot. The difference
Yep.
between you and Nick is every year Nick had a different coordinator. He's
Yep.
proven that he can do it. This is the first year we're gonna have to see with you.
Yep. And that's where all eyes are at. Damn, we watching, man. Are you a good coach or you a great coach? Can you sustain the coordinator change, brother? That's all. All right. Let's get into it. I know we both said already the last year we expected the Lions to do good things. What they did was killer. Uh, again, to end the season the way they did, I just kind of double back to being like, you guys won the Houston game and Jared threw all them picks. So you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like it's just that side of Jared, which I feel bad for because like Jared the year before in the NFC Championship game hooped and the team let him down with drop passes and fumbles. So I just kind of felt bad that that was the sword that kind of ended that group of guys there. So yeah, that was crazy, but the point differential ridiculous. We looked at the offensive stats when we looked at the Bears. Top of the league in passing, top of the league in rushing. The rushing average was ridiculous. Just top to bottom, a really good roster. Like you said, with a depleted defense. Aiden Hutchinson was Penta walking his way to a defensive player of the year before he got hurt.
easily, and maybe
Like
even
that,
maybe even the sack record. Like that's
yeah,
that's
like
what kind of
Penta
pace he was on.
Aiden was on MVP level push how he was hooping. So I understand every frustration. Like if you're a Lions fan and you're like, these injuries curse them. I understand all of that, man. Jameer Gibbs, monster. David Montgomery, monster. St. Brown. I know I've been lower on him than most, monster. Jamison Williams, killing it, man. Yeah, and they've put together a really, really, really good team and have drafted really well. It said the team is set up in such a way where it almost can't be bad. You know what I'm saying? Like the team just can't be bad. That's how I look at this roster. So, can you go to the depth chart, please, and go to defense?
Yes, sir.
To Aiden returning, the addition of DJ Reader, Marcus Davenport, Jack Campbell, who I would like to see a leap from. Underrated pickup to me, that I think is going to pay big money for them. Tyleek
Tyleek
Williams.
Williams.
Yeah, Tyleek Williams. I think he's going to hoop. I really like the makeup of the secondary. Arnold Branch, DJ Reed, Straw Jr. I really like the secondary makeup. I don't want to leave out Kirby Joseph either, but I like the makeup of said the team top to bottom. It's a really solid team with a better roster to me. It's just almost bulletproof to being bad.
Yeah,
Unless, like I said, unless the coordinator changes affect them so much, it would still feel like this team would find a way to be like, hey, we're 7-8 wins just because we're like really nice roster.
yeah, yeah. I think one of the
We will
benefits
take that as
of
a standard with 7-8 games.
one of the
Yeah,
benefits of having all the injuries last year is now you have game experience for a lot of these guys, right?
yeah.
So now you have some depth, especially going into the playoffs, and a lot of these guys being able to step up and play in the playoffs. I really like Malcolm Rodriguez. He's been on the bench for a little while.
And I
Anzalone,
remember the James Houston push that people used to be James Houston. Watch out for James Houston, and
yeah,
brother,
brothers lost.
MIA. Yeah,
Um, I really like Alex Anzalone. He was one of those. He's one of those motor guys. So I hope, I hope he does. Like you said, Jack Campbell. I hope he does step up this year. But that linebacker core is probably the weakest part of this defense.
yeah.
Unfortunately, talent
Well,
wise.
I mess with Campbell. I do mess with Campbell and Anzalone. But yeah, you're right. I would say I like the secondary and I like the front, so not a bad thing. But I would agree
Yeah,
with you there. I would agree with you there. The coordinator changes, man, is the highlight sustaining that. But outside of that, man, Gibbs and Montgomery, even when Reynolds comes in the game,
yeah.
absolutely fire. Um, JMO, who and what he really becomes without Ben Johnson and Sam Laporta. I do think both of them benefited a lot from Ben Johnson's play calling. think they were put in a lot of good situations to take advantage of their talents. Seeing what they are without that, because I can still guarantee Detroit's gonna be able to run that ball.
Oh
And
yeah.
I'm not saying that Amon Ra isn't gonna run up his 100 catches and J-Mo isn't gonna burn people. I do believe Laporta still good and Williams was very high on them. Who they are in this next offense is going to be very telling.
Yeah.
I think that's that really is the wild card for me in their offense is and for their team is who is Jameson and Laporta without Ben Johnson. Because I don't doubt the talent of the player. I want to see how they're going to be used.
I think I think one thing I'm looking at this year is I think we're gonna see a different style of running. One thing about Ben Johnson, he has some exotic runs that were just they were perfectly called, they were perfectly planned. The whole game plan of the run game was just it was
Yeah,
beautiful. The way they ran the ball was beautiful.
yeah,
Um, New OC, new DC. I think we're gonna probably see a different style of how these guys run the ball, which it's not a bad thing. Obviously nobody's gonna call plays like Ben Johnson didn't know was gonna draw up
yeah.
plays like that. But I think we're gonna be able to see a little bit more dynamic, traditional running from David Montgomery and Jameer Gibbs.
And what?
Um, this
Yeah,
might be Jameer Gibbs RB1 season, even though
yeah.
he's kind of been RB1 the last 2 years, anyways.
I want to see if Glasgow stays at center or if Tate Ratledge ends up. I heard some little whispers about Tate Ratledge could possibly do some
Slide
center
over.
work. Yeah, and the biggest loser in the Ben Johnson leaving is Dan Skipper. The brother's not
Yeah.
going to get another career receiving touchdown. So, yeah, brother, you were a product of coordinator, brother. You're not going to get that love anymore. If
I
Dan
think he
Skipper
just
gets
signed
a
another. I
receiving
think he just signed
touchdown,
another
y'all
contract
at
too.
me.
He
Yeah,
just got another
Dan
contract too.
Skipper has maxed out as a wide receiver. He has no more potential as a wide receiver. Get him off of your fantasy
No
teams.
more fantasy value. This man
Yeah,
gave
no
you
more
like
fantasy
triple
value
points
from
when he
Dan
caught a
Skipper.
touchdown.
He's out of there. He's out of there. Get Dan Skipper off your lineups. You know what I'm saying? That's all. Yeah, but yeah, for real for me, just seeing who J-Mo and Laporta is with the new play calling. And with the
Yeah.
defense, like you said, like I know it's a new coordinator over there too, but just being healthy. Like, God, we miss Aiden. Aiden was walking himself to a historical season, man, and I like we were robbed of that, man. So yeah, I think just being healthy, I expect them to be firing. I said the Packers and the Vikings, I had a question mark about their secondary. I really like Detroit's secondary. They said in their front. So I like how they're set up.
Yeah.
And
Bunch
Dan
of
Jackson on
dogs.
the back end to that. So yeah, I mess with them. So yeah.
Players to watch for me is just going to be that linebacker core: Anzalone, Campbell, and Barnes. Like you said, I like Campbell. I like Barnes. I like Anzalone, but I don't know when I compare them to the quality of what they have on that D line and then the quality of what they have in the secondary. That to me is just what stands out. I'm not saying they're super bad. I'm not saying they're not good.
Yeah.
That to me is just where the key is for me for these guys.
Yeah. Yeah, but I say I'm with you. I'm with you and I agree. I'm with you and I agree on that. All right, let's get to a floor and a ceiling for Detroit. Ooh. At Green Bay to open, I gave Green Bay that, but
Yep.
then they got at home versus the Bears. I gave them that. Then at Monday night, the Ravens. This is a game that the Ravens blow, and people say Lamar Jackson flow drop off. Boo, the Ravens suck. But
Oh,
I'm
I
gonna give
don't
them
know.
the L that one.
Lamar's only
Yeah,
lost
but
to
that's
two NFC
yeah,
teams
yeah,
in the last couple of years, and they're both. I think it
yeah,
was both Philly.
yeah. But that last time they did go up to Baltimore, it did not go well. I'm still gonna give Baltimore that dub. So right now they're 1-2 to start the
1 and
season.
2.
They get their dub in Cleveland. Cleveland's just taking too many L's on this side of it.
Hey, it felt like every time
Cincinnati,
we see Cleveland, it's the dub.
yeah. Cincinnati, Kansas City, Tampa before the bye week. I feel like the team is good enough to go 2-1 during that stretch.
Yeah, I think they'll beat Cincinnati. It's gonna be.
I I feel like the team is good enough to go 2-1 during that stretch. I like I like the other teams too, and their away games. So I mean, they would obviously have to win one of the away games and win at home versus Tampa on Monday. I'm not gonna pick which one. You know what I'm saying?
Me neither.
I'm not. Yeah, I'm not gonna pick which one. I'm just gonna say I think they go 2-1 over that stretch. So to up into the bye week, I have them at 1, 2, 3, 4, 4.
4-3.
4, yeah, 4 wins up to the bye week. That's the floor. Coming out the bye week at home versus Minnesota, get your dub.
5.
At Washington, second window. At Washington,
Is it
second window game.
Washington who they lost to in the playoffs?
Yep.
This might gonna have to be a revenge game, but it ain't Ben Johnson. They
Yeah.
should have Aiden here.
And it's on the road. On the road. Back-to-back road games. It's not kind.
Might be back-to-back losses.
Looking like it. I'm looking like it. So there's 5. 3 home games in a row. I'm gonna give them the 3.
Yeah, they're gonna win all 3 of those.
So we're up to 8 at the Rams. Which should be the final matchup of McVay, Goff, and Stafford. Like this should be the last matchup we see of this, unless they play in the playoffs. McVay and them.
Yeah,
I'm gonna take
giving
them
it
at
to
home
McVay
versus
and them.
Pittsburgh.
Yep. On the
At
road,
Minnesota.
back-to-back losses to end the season.
Freak. This is bad for a team that went
7,
15.
8.
I feel like their floor.
7 floor, 8 floor.
That's what I'm saying. We gave them a 7 floor.
Hey man, like we have to acknowledge the anomaly from last year that was the NFC North. Like we have to acknowledge
Yeah. Everybody
this ain't gonna
can't.
happen again. Like this is not happening.
Yeah.
Not in this division. Not with a schedule like this. So, and I think that's why when we say 8 and we say 9, we almost cringe because it's like y'all just coming off of a double-digit win season, convincingly.
So floor is 7.
Yeah.
Which is lower floor than the Packers and the Vikings.
Yeah. And I mean, I said they're gonna be battling for that number 2, 3 spot because I think Green Bay has the best path to number 1.
The ceiling is
10,
11.
11. I'm cool with that.
The ceiling is 11.
4 win difference.
Yeah.
That means they'd have to come on the road some of these games and
Baltimore.
steal some of these games.
Yeah, Baltimore. They'd have to split and or sweep that back-to-back L we gave them to Washington to Philly. They would have to split one of them to find a way to get one of them. The McVay road game. Going up to the Rams. That's one. And in the year, we gave them on paper back-to-back L's being there, but
Yeah.
we don't know where Minnesota or Chicago could be at that point of the season either, though. It's a Christmas game, and again, we don't know what that last game of the season could mean because from where we were
Chicago
with
might be playing spoiler at that point.
yeah, like Chicago might be aimed. So that's just another thing. So, yeah, I hate that to put it like that, but I do think there is a 7 floor, but I see it like an 11 ceiling. I want to lean closer to 9 because this is tough. It's tough. We gave them 3 in a row at Giants, Green Bay, and Dallas.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Which I don't feel like that's wrong to say that, but you know what I'm saying?
3 games at home after a back-to-back road stretch. You almost gotta be inclined to go home and perform, regardless of what happened on the road.
Yeah. So it's crazy. So we're 7 floor, 11 ceiling. That's crazy. All right. So the way we got it sounding like is we both have Packers winning.
Yep.
Packers winning the division.
Minnesota right now is probably more lined up for number 2.
I got to go Detroit.
Cool with that.
I got to go Detroit.
They have a higher ceiling.
I think seeing the fact that we had them at a 7 floor, I think I'm trying to fight against that, even though I like Minnesota's record, like Minnesota's schedule favored them a little better.
Mm.
Yeah, I think we're both leaving with both of us having the Packers.
and the Bears at the bottom.
Bears at the bottom.
Yeah, two or three is gonna be a toss up for sure. Especially with the
Yeah.
way I mean, like you said, Minnesota probably has a favorable schedule, but Detroit almost has more of the experience, more a little bit more of kind of those tangibles that we're looking at. Player wise, they haven't really changed too much of the roster. Where as you
Yeah.
look at the Minnesota Vikings, then the biggest factor for them is JJ.
All right. I got some comments here, 2 of them from the TikTok comment section. I'm not gonna say their names because I don't want to mess them up. But somebody said the Packers will finish 4th in the division. That's
They must be a
opposite of
Bears
us.
fan.
Yeah, they're opposite of us. And the homie Don't Free Sleep, he's a Broncos fan. He be on here. He said the Vikings have a losing record. Packers will go 9-8. Bears will make the playoffs as a 7 seed, and Lions win the division, but only with a 10-7 or 11-6 record. So it'll be Lions, Bears, Packers, Vikings. So he's
Damn.
basically saying that the Lions will win the division at 10-7 or 11-6, and then the Bears will get the 7th seed. So the Bears should be 9-8 and get the 7th seed in his scenario
Hey, I'm here for it.
and go from there. So
I'd love to see that happen.
yeah. All right. Let's do this real quick. Rank at the end of next year. How will the quarterback rankings in the NFC North go?
Love, Goff, McCarthy, Williams. Love,
I
Goff,
think
McCarthy, Williams.
I'm gonna have to go Love Williams. Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you. I'm gonna go Caleb over JJ.
Caleb over JJ. I'm cool with that.
Yeah, so it should be Love Golf, Caleb JJ. Just at the end of next year.
Cool.
Yeah. All right, y'all. Thank you for rocking with us. NFC North. We will get to some more takes here about it. We will double back and do our full conference videos. Drop your comments. Say what you want to say. Please, no talking about people's moms, and all is good to go. Thank you for rocking with us. I'm Vita. That's Soy. The next time you see us, we will be talking about the AFC North. So thank you for rocking with us. We out.